So this young guy is on TikTok. He professes to be a Christian and he addresses race as well as Christianity in the TikTok space. So somebody will post a question and he responds, kind of like what I'm doing. So today we're going to look at him and we're going to address what he says because there's some pretty serious glaring errors. So let's go.
8 people on the bus, not one person said a thing. I just stood up, walked off the bus, fearing for my life that this person was going to attack me just because I was white in Harlem.
So the person is asking, can white people experience racism? Okay, which is, I think, a very decent question. Can a person of less melanin experience partiality? Can they be treated differently or discriminated against because of their ethnicity, because of their skin color? Let's go.
All right, I'm going to take a swing at this. Racism is a 2-part word. The first part, race, is the grouping together of people based on physical similarities like skin color.
I think it's fair to say that that's the first problem. Physical characteristics like skin color don't mean anything. That's really a dicey, if we just use externals, that's why God didn't tell us to do this. That's why God told us not to show partiality, because we're not going to make right judgments. Just because somebody has dark skin, I lump them in with other people with dark skin. That doesn't mean anything. They're in their character, their thoughts, their ideas don't have to match.
And then ism, meaning a system, a construct, an institution.
I'm not sure where he's getting his definition from. I'm going to drop Webster's dictionary definitions on the screen in a moment. I don't see where he's getting those from. And now, if you want to just use whatever comes to your mind, that's fine, I guess, but you can't hold somebody to your own thoughts and your own maturations. There needs to be some kind of objective truth standard that we're using, and he's not doing that. So that's going to be interesting.
The 5 social institutions in our society are political, religion, educational, family, and finance. Like it or not, all of those institutions, those systems were created by and continue to be managed by white people.
Did he just say that family, religion, finance, education, and government were all started by white people? See, when people deconstruct, this is what ends up happening. You never deconstruct to become more orthodox. You never deconstruct to become more biblically sound. Did he honestly say that religion started by white people? That's what he said. Now, whether or not they maintain it, because he also said maintain, which makes no sense either. So what he basically said is that there was no religion on the continent of Africa or Asia or Australia or anywhere that white people had not touched until white people got there. Family, government, finance, none of that stuff until, see, this is what I mean. When you start playing this game, it's a long game, but it's going to lead to insanity. This is crazy. This is what he said, though. Let's go back and watch it again.
The 5 social institutions in our society are political, religion, educational, family, and finance. Like it or not, all of those institutions, those systems were created by and continue to be managed by white people.
So he did, in fact, say that. So are you trying to honestly tell me that there's no religions in America or in society today that weren't started by white people? How does that even work? Like that doesn't even make sense. But again, you try to say that white people started family? Like what part of family, a man and a woman marry, commit to each other forever, they have babies, and they grow. What part of that is white? Finance? Education? The idea of learning came from white people. That's more racist than anything else, in my opinion. So you're basically saying that no other people were able to learn without the introduction of people with less melanin.
So if you're not finding yourself oppressed or marginalized in one of those 5 areas because you're white, it's not racism.
That honestly made no sense. So if you're not oppressed in family, religion, education, government, or whatever the other area, finance, yeah, then you're not, because of race, then you're not, it's not racism. Most of the things that people talk about is not in one of those areas. Just because he's going to later on talk about appropriation. That doesn't make any sense. But again, none of this makes sense. You don't have to participate in this insanity. What you do is you just say, sir, keep it moving, have a great life, keep doing what you're doing, enjoy yourself. I'm just not going to play your game with you. You don't have to play this game with these people because they're just making up rules as they go. So you can't be a racist because you have too much melanin. But this person can be a racist because she has not enough melanin. But it won't flip-flop. So I can't be racist toward her because I have too much melanin and she has too little melanin. So because I have too much melanin, my racism toward her, my partiality towards her doesn't count. Okay, whatever.
Now, don't get me wrong. I know that there is prejudice towards white people.
Wait. So there's prejudice towards white people, but it's not racism. But if a white person shows prejudice towards a black person, it is racism?
There is hate toward white people.
I thought demonstrating hatred toward another image bearer was a sin.
There is disdain. There is violence. There is vitriol. And no one gets a pass on that. Not even black folks.
Now that sounds really pious. Hey, there's vitriol, there's hatred, there's animosity toward white people, and nobody gets a pass. However, keep in mind, those things that he just outlined are bona fide sins. Hatred toward your brother is a sin. Hatred toward another person is a sin. Racism, by the definition that these people use, can only be one way, and also, what is it? How do I hate somebody if I just say that a person is, they're always late? How is that racism? And what sin did I just commit by saying this person is always late? What is that? So he's actually declassifying God's law and requalifying it in man's law as God's law. Racism isn't a sin. You have to have hatred toward your brother. You don't know that somebody has hatred towards somebody just because they say you're always tardy, you're always late. That doesn't mean that you hate that person. But he's declassified what God has said, and now he's now pouring new meanings into it or requalifying man's law as God's law. Watch what he does.
Just call it by the right name.
You mean like call it sin when it's sin and not sin when it's not?
It's just crazy to me that the people who set up and benefit from those institutions that oppress marginalized communities in this nation.
I am so glad that he said in this nation, because what they purport, what they talk about here can't be exported to other countries. So like this, what he's saying right here doesn't work in Africa. It doesn't work in India. It doesn't work in other countries. It only works here. And countries that are very well mixed and have used to be the melting pot, but has a very diverse population. You go somewhere that's mono-ethnic, this doesn't even work, but the sin still works. That's the problem. God's law is universal. God's law covers all mankind.
They won't even let those communities have that. They're appropriating oppression.
You heard that. Appropriating oppression. I don't even know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this. You're making up things and then you're imposing them on other people as if they are in fact doing the thing that you just made up. I don't even know how this works. You don't have to participate in this clownery. You just say, no, I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to play your game. You started off by saying you're going to take a swing at it. And I'm going to go and say that you swung and you missed.